Hey, Sam Network here, bringing you another review of a flashlight. Funnily enough, my last review was also a flashlight, so I've upgraded here and I've got something a lot better. And I've actually had this light for since January, I think mid-late January, so I've really got to know it fairly well. So this is the Sofirn SP31. This is a tube style 18650 light. It uses a Cree XML2 LED. I believe it's a Cree XPL2 V6 LED. It has not been de-domed. It is still domed, but it's very bright. And I love the color temperature on this. I think they rated it at 5,350 Kelvin to 5,700 Kelvin, but it is very warm. It has a rosy tint to it, and it is a lot better looking than the typical LED flashlights that use upwards of 7,000 Kelvin, which is very blue. So I do like the LED. It's very efficient. And this light puts out, it's been disputed, but I think someone maxed it out at 1140 lumens, so 1140 lumens at its peak. I think the official parameter, well, on this it says the official parameters are 956 lumens, but it is higher. I think it's about 60 lumens brighter. It has a throw of 200 meters, so I think it's like 620 feet, somewhere around there. So it throws fairly far for something very small. And it has two different strobe modes. I'll demonstrate them in a minute. It's two different strobe modes. It has a runtime of 1 hour and 11 minutes on high. But after 3 minutes of continuous operation, it'll step down to medium, and then after 30 minutes of medium, it will step down to low. So on medium, it has a battery runtime of 6 hours, which is pretty good, considering that medium puts out over it says here 354 lumens, but it is actually higher. It's somewhere over 400 lumens, which is surprisingly bright. So when it does step down to low puts out 43 lumens, which is pretty much perfect for any sort of pathfinding that you're going to do at night. Say you're at camp and you need to find the restroom. 40 lumens is going to be all you need without accidentally blinding someone or even yourself from the reflection off of pretty much anything it hits. At low, it'll run for about 40 hours. Now this does also have a Moonlight mode, which puts out 1 lumen, 1 to 2 lumens. It is fairly bright for a Moonlight mode, and it'll run that for 172 hours, or actually 173 hours. So, yeah, it's fairly efficient with the 18650s. I'll get to that in just a second. This light is IPX8 waterproof, and I'll actually show you the various O-rings in here. I think there's, including the button, 5, but it is very well sealed. So this the Cree XML2 LED has a lifetime of about 100,000 hours, so you're never going to have to replace it, and that is to be expected with LED flashlights. Their bulbs don't burn out. The working voltage is, as it says here, 2.8 volts to 8.4 volts. It runs on one 18650 battery, which is pretty much the standard for a lot of flashlights now, or two CR123A batteries. It'll run on 2 of those. It's about, it says it's 130 millimeters long, so you can see it's fairly palm-sized. It's about the size of a soda can. It's just a little longer, but it's not very fat. It's fairly thin. It weighs in, I think, at 113 grams. It's 72 without the battery. It depends on what battery you have, but it is very light for the amount of light it puts out. There is a mode memory, so whatever mode you were on last, it will remember that. And the glass, this is actually, before I get to the glass, this is a SMO, Smooth Reflector. It's not orange peel. So it does actually give you a fair amount of flood, and there is a tight hot spot, but it's not super floody, and it does have a good amount of throw. This is AR glass, and it is fairly thick. I don't know how many millimeters thick it is, but it is AR coated, so that does improve your output. Now, one of my favorite things about this light, and this does seem kind of weird, is the anodization. The anodization is the surface of the light. It's the coating on the aluminum of the light. And this says it is type 3 hard anodized anti-abrasive finish. And I really like this finish. I really like it. It's between glossy and matte. It's somewhere in between. I'm gonna say it's satin. I really do like my matte lights. I had an old Streamlight Stylus Pro, and I really like the anodization on that. But weirdly enough, that seemed to scratch a little easier than this. It also has low voltage protection, so it'll protect your batteries, and I recommend using non-protected batteries. Also, high drain batteries. It's going to give you your best output. I'll get to that in just a minute. It is recommended that you use 18650s, but if you have to, in a pinch, you can use CR123A batteries. So we'll go ahead and break this down for you. This is the tail cap, and my goodness, this anodization is smooth. It is extremely smooth, and it makes all the difference. Yeah, so when you're unscrewing this, they actually included some silicone grease, which lubricates the threads and is waterproof. I would not advise using petroleum jelly. I'd only use those on cheap lights. I wouldn't use them on these because that does actually corrode the O-rings. It'll cause them to become brittle and stiff, and then it loses its waterproof rating. But these threads are very smooth. You can see some debris has kind of accumulated in here, but that's not big of a deal. As you can see, you have your gold-plated spring in there, as I would think it is. I think that is gold-plated. It is not bypassed, though. So the spring's not bypassed, but the light I've ordered next, the Sofirn C8T, it is bypassed. As you can see, the button, it has a tail button, which is nice because it has two buttons. This is for actually turning it on and off. This is for changing the modes. You can also see your O-ring, and these are fairly thick. And Sofirn includes additional O-rings should you lose yours, but these are nice O-rings, and they will keep the battery compartment watertight. You can see the clip right here. This is a very firm and stiff clip. It stays on there. It actually is the few scratches that I've got from this on this light are from the clip, so I'd advise not taking it off. And then you can see the labeling up here. And, well, before the labeling, you can unscrew the battery tube, and as you can see, there's another O-ring in here that is also, the threads are anodized, and I forgot to point this out. You can lock out the light by doing a quarter turn, because the threads are anodized, except for the tip, and that means when this separates in there, then it cuts off that the current. So both threads are anodized, and both threads have O-rings at the end, and as you can see, the other spring is in there, and this is what you get where you get into your driver. You can see our button here. This one actually sticks out a fair amount from the body, about a millimeter, I would say, compared to the other ones, which are pretty close to flush. And as you can see, that button does look quite nice. So up here we have the head of the light. You can actually, it is very tightly screwed on, but you can actually unscrew this. I'd not advise doing this, especially if it's sealed, but this one was unsealed because dust can get into that reflector, and it is a pain to clean the reflector because it scratches very, very easily. I had a big chunk of dust or sand, I don't know what it was. It was a single grain of that, and it was in there, and I used a Q-tip that had never even been touched to lightly brush it out. That's the only thing I'd recommend. Not even microfiber cloths would do that. They would also scratch it. As you can see here, you have another O-ring. You have your reflector in there, and there's another O-ring inside the lip of this glass, waterproofing it completely. And then you can see our Cree XML 2V6 LED here. This has not been de-domed. I need to get that screw fixed. I don't know why that's still there. It has not been de-domed, so it does give you less throw because of that. And you can see this plastic spacer, which could also be used to de-dome it. You can use that as a washer for guiding your razor blade when you de-dome the LED. And as you can see, it's been soldered on. This is some silicone wire right there. So that's pretty much the light deconstructed. I really love the finish, and I really love the machining. The machining is amazing. It's beautiful. Coupled with the finish, and it's a great light. And for the price I got this at, it was just such a good deal. The knurling is nice too. It's nice and grippy. It's not too tacky, and it's not too smooth either. It's very easy to hold. Very easy to hold. Whether you hold it like this or like this. And I'll go ahead and demonstrate the light for you, and we'll get out my 18650s. So these are the batteries that I bought. I have two of them. One will be used in my upcoming light, and then one is used in this one. Downside of this light was when I dropped it, that the battery actually got jammed into the tail cap. And it actually split off this part of the casing. So this was actually I had to remove on the other battery. It wasn't that big of a deal, but I was kind of disappointed that happened. So I'm using these Samsung INR 18650 25R high drain cells. I believe these have a capacity of 2500 milliamp hours, and these are unprotected and high drain, so they are perfect for this light. These batteries cost $4.50 each, so these are nice. They're rechargeable also. That's pretty obvious. So I added this duct tape to the side, as you can see, to make it more of a snug fit. You can still see it kind of wobbles around in there, but originally it really did wobble around, and when you shook it, you could feel the battery in there, and that doesn't really feel good. It feels better to actually have it in there fairly firmly. So go ahead. I don't know if the switch has been... Yeah, it hasn't. So, yeah, actually it is. It is turned on. It is in Moonlight mode right now, and I'll actually demonstrate the quarter turn. I'll actually turn this up. You can see the light is on, and if I... Actually, it's unscrewing at the top. Make sure that's on tight. If you unscrew it on the tail, it actually locks out your light manually. So make sure it's on tight in order for it to properly work. So as you can see, the first function I had it on was Moonlight mode. It puts out just over a lumen as I would have it, and this is good for reading. If you need to read like a map or something, it's perfect for that. This is your 40 lumens, and this is good for wayfinding or just finding something in general. It's the economy mode, the battery saver mode. but you can step it up to general use medium mode, which puts out a lot of light. Yeah, the light actually looks kind of cold right now. It looks really blue, but in reality, this is a pretty much neutral white. So 450 lumens is very bright, and this will, I don't know what the throw is on this. I'd say it's 100 meters. I would say it's about half of what the normal, the maximum throw is. But it is perfect for, searching for something in the woods, or just, needing a good bright light. Now we can switch it up to high mode, which I would consider turbo. I'd actually consider medium, high, so on and so forth, all the way down. But I think Sofirn should have put in another level between low and medium, somewhere around 200, 250 lumens. That's fine, but at maximum, it's going to put out over 1,000 lumens. And it is very bright. So, this will pretty much blind you if you're looking into it, especially if you're using a strobe mode. That's very disorienting. But the amount of light that this puts out is pretty crazy for the size. It can throw, over 600 feet. And it's just really nice. So, what comes with the package, if you get the battery, will be a battery. If you get the battery option, you'll get a battery and a charger and the charging cable. But I didn't get that. I got the regular version that had just the flashlight. That was, I think, $13 or $14. Plus the batteries. Batteries were kind of expensive, but it was just under $25. So in the box, there's obviously nothing. I got this back in January. I still have the box, but you had your light sitting in here, and then underneath it, you would have the wrist strap that it would come with. And this is a nice bonus because you can see that you can put a lanyard in there because use your wrist strap with that. Also included was O-rings, spare O-rings for. I don't know if they would be compatible with what's in the front, but they may be. I think they are. And then O-rings on the head and on the tube. And the last thing that was included was this booklet, which has almost all of the stats that you'll need for the light. You want to go to budgetlightforums.com, and then you want to search for Sofirn if you want in-depth specifications on the light. That's where I got all my information. But this tells you enough that you'll need to know. It has its ANSI perimeters, and it has pretty much all the specs. It also has it in German on the back, so if you're German, there you go. But yeah, that's pretty much the light. I don't think I'm missing anything on it, but I mean, this has been my go-to light for a long time, and I think it still will continue to be until I get something like maybe a Zanflare F1 or something of that nature that is USB rechargeable. This is not USB rechargeable, but it was a great value for the price. I think this is $30 with a battery on Amazon, so if you want to get that there, I don't think the deal I had is still available, unfortunately, but I think it's $30 on Amazon, or you could probably get it from the AliExpress official Sofirn store. But yeah, that was pretty much the light. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did find it useful or intriguing or interesting, do leave a comment or just leave a like. If you want to support me in the future, you can hit that subscribe button and share it if you know someone who needs a light and they want a good review on that. So thanks for watching. See you next time.